Welcome to another edition of Influence Today with Chet, Tart, and Terry Lyles. And welcome back. And it's 2023. Can you believe that? We're there already. I thought what we do today, Terry, is talk a little bit about how to move into 2023 and how to prepare for 2023. And let's run down, some tools that will make 2023 the best. We're going to go into turbulent times. We see it already in our politics. We see it already in the economy. We see it already in many aspects of the supply chain is back. So maybe we could talk about our mental attitude as we move forward. But the first thing I want to start out is, wouldn't we look back at 2022 and talk about how grateful we are? 2022, we made it through it. It was a tough time. But tell me the importance of gratitude. Why would somebody start their year with talking about the gratitude they have for 2022 and the elements inside it?
Yeah, it's such an important thing because I start my day every day with gratitude. 2 to 5 minutes before I jump out of bed, mop to with my hair on fire and get my day going, whatever day it is. I just stop and I just reflect on, hey, I'm thankful for my health. I'm praying, I'm meditating, I'm reflecting over, all the good stuff. I don't think about all the wrong things because I've got emails and voicemails and text messages that's going to remind me as soon as I power up everything. So I just focus on what am I grateful for. Interestingly enough, we know by measurement through scientific proof that we've done in sports science, the quickest way to change blood oxygen levels and your fitness is by breathing, obviously. The second is by gratitude. It's so interesting because it elevates our spirit, it clears our mind, and it helps us to focus on what's possible versus what's impossible. So it's a very powerful thing just to start your day focusing on gratitude, especially after a year has passed, starting in a new year. What are you grateful for? As you mentioned last year, what are you looking forward to be grateful for in 23 as we chart our year out?
That's great. So we're talking about gratitude. And sometimes when I talk to people, they don't know what to be thankful for. Is there any specific things that would jack up our relationship with ourselves and by picking out certain things that we should be grateful for?
I just start with myself, who I am mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. So I'll start out with just going through that little 4-point checklist. Like mentally, what's my vision of me today that I'm grateful for? Hey, I live in a great place, live in a great state. I got a great family. I have good health. You just start going through that checklist mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I have faith, I have hope. And as you go through that, it doesn't take very long, a couple, 3 minutes, and all of a sudden, life is good. I got to control my destiny by how I think, what I feel, what I believe, and what I do. So that's who we are mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. And those 4 capacities are the only thing we have control over. Everything else is external. And at best, we can only influence those things. We surely cannot control them. We control our internal capacities.
So moving forward into 2023, I think we should break it down into days. What's going to make a great day today, knowing when you get up in the morning? Is there any tools or any formulas you use, since you're good at this, so I can clear my mind or my self-talk saying, oh, I got all these fires to put out or something like that? So how do we make today a great day?
Well, as I mentioned, I start my day with reflecting on what I'm grateful for. And then as the day goes on, I will either choose a word or a thought of the day, or maybe even the week or the month. It depends. Sometimes I feel like God just gives us things that come up so obviously in front of us. And we look at that and just go wow, I really need to focus on whatever that is, health, as an example. We all go through bouts where we have health issues. We have to go to the doctor or we get the flu and, we're down, our energy. So I try to come up with a thought of the day, thought of the week, thought of the month, and really make that a part of my focus. Write it down. I put little stickies on my desk and on my shelving that I look at it all the time. I have one that's up now. It says in the moment. And it was there most of last year, and it's like a steadfast for me. So I'm doing these calls all day, and on the phone here in my office, I look right up and I've got a sticky that says in the moment. And to me, that means, Terry, be in the moment. Don't be distracted. Don't worry about things you cannot control for this Zoom call. Be in the moment, be present, be all there. So those word flashcards, if you will, can be very, very powerful as reminders of what we're grateful for and how we put flesh and bones around it to act it out today.
I like that. I have little stickies too, but I call them triggers.
Okay, yeah.
Because they do trigger me to get me back on track. What am I doing right? And even with the phones, sometimes my phone will go off because I use it as a trigger saying, are you focused today? Is your time management on top? I notice coaching some of my clients, the biggest issue they have is time management. But you drill down deeper and you find out if you want to make that day better, you better be able to delegate so that you could fill those time boxes.
Yep.
How do you feel about that?
No, I love it. And it's so true because, time is, you can't invest time. You spend time. Every moment that goes by is gone. So time is a currency that's currently being spent at this very moment. We can't invest our time. We can invest in people in that element of time, but we don't invest time. We spend time doing something, thinking about something, believing something, doing something. And that becomes very, very powerful. And back to the self-talk for just a moment and these word triggers as you're using, and I use them as well. I mean, my son plays tennis. He's 9 and he's playing at a pretty high level right now. And we're really excited for him. He's training hard every day, plays 6 days a week. He's beating teenagers. He's punching above his weight, as we say.
And how old is he?
He's 9.
9, right.
Yeah, he's already won some championships and locally here in South Florida, and he's on a trajectory to do really well. We actually have pulled him out of school. We're homeschooling him now through the state of Florida to give him a better opportunity to focus on what he says he wants to do. So whether it's your job, career, your family, with your kids, your spouse, whatever it is, you have to make the sacrifices and the focused commitment and triggers inside of ourselves says, this is why I'm doing this. Why do I get up at 5:30 in the morning? Why am I going to bed early at night? This is my ritual because I want to attack my day. And that's one of his words. If I'm on the court, you're really not supposed to say anything in tennis. It's so not a sport I was ever used to because you got to be quiet. There's a lot of etiquette in tennis. I came from crazy man sports, football, basketball, baseball, hockey, you're screaming and crazy. So in tennis, I have these with him, I can just do a verbal if I'm close enough to him, or I can do a hand signal and he knows what I'm talking about. We need to be able to do that with ourselves. And that's why we talk about these triggers are so important. It could be a picture that's hanging on your wall. It could be a sticky note. It could be an alarm on your phone, whatever that might be. We need these reminders and triggers throughout the day to keep us on track because time management is a byproduct of what my purpose is today in spending those currencies of time, minute by minute, hour by hour.
That's powerful. Time management is a byproduct of purpose.
Yes.
Wow, that's strong. I'd never heard that before.
And that's what I mean, I've been doing this for, several weeks with companies and individuals getting ready for the new year. And I go through a basic 4-point. I just did a training for a company the other day and actually did one for a family that I coached the spouse on, one of the spouses, and he put his whole family through this the second day of January. And I had them all on a Zoom call and, there's 5 of us on this call. And I go through it, I challenge them for the hour. This is what coaching and training is. And it was 4 things. The first question was, if you could do anything in the world and you knew you couldn't fail, what would you try? Operative word is try. I could say, hey, I want to play in the NBA. Probably not going to happen. Okay. But I could say, look, I want to be involved in something that is around basketball or sport or whatever that might be. The trick is if you knew you had a guarantee you couldn't fail, what would you try to do? So depending on your age and your career trajectory, all those things can matter. But the 4 points I touch on is what is your purpose going into this new year? Okay. And how does that look? What is your vision to actually lay that purpose out every day? And then what is your mission? What's the tactical direction you're going to take every day to take another step to get there? And then lastly, what are my goals that I'm shooting for? So it's purpose, which is my heartbeat, my breath. It's what fires me up every day. It is my life source. So what my purpose is, I have to be able to see that purpose in my vision. I'm going to visualize myself doing this on a court, doing this on a Zoom call, doing this on an airplane, traveling to the next gig, whatever that might be. My mission is day to day, tactical, time management, check off list. This is what I'm going to accomplish today. And then the last one, as I said, is just really simple. My goal is to accomplish this today, this week, this month, this year, and make sure you keep up with all four of those and look at them on a regular basis.
Do you think it's important that we do have a truth teller or an accountability partner to keep us on track?
Absolutely, without question, because we are many times our own worst enemies. We'll be easier on ourselves and harder on others. It's just kind of the way we're wired. We commonly, forgive ourselves a lot quicker than we forgive others for mistakes. And it's because we love ourselves that much. We got to learn to love others as much as we love ourselves. That's a prophecy, right?
That's a topic in itself, to love ourselves. I was talking with one of my clients the other day about affirmations. He was sort of poo-pooing, and then I realized he didn't know what the hell affirmations were.
Right.
How would you explain to somebody what an affirmation is and how important it is for the subconscious?
Well, it's huge. I mean, psychologically, it's such a big component of the fiber of our belief system, because when you just look at the word affirmation, it means obviously in its root to affirm something.
Mm-hmm.
So what am I affirming? I'm gonna affirm the fact that I'm in control of my thoughts, my emotions, my beliefs, and my actions. Back to what we started this podcast talking about. So I affirm that. So my thought triggers can be all kinds of things, and I can choose those out. Like, I'm a winner. I want to be in the moment. This is the best day of my life. I'm going to win all day today. I'm going to make a difference in someone's life. I want to impact everyone I touch. You know what I mean? There's all these affirmations that if you jot some down that really you like, put them into practice, put them in your phone, put them, in your day planner, whatever that day planner is, your computer, a written word, whatever it is. Those affirmations we speak to ourselves actually creates the character that shapes the behavior of who we become today, in the element of spending time, not investing it.
Well, that's powerful. I was talking with a CEO today, just this morning, and he was talking about that he got a call from somebody asking him a question. He said, I just feel like a fraud, that he called me. I talked to him. I gave him the answer, and he said, that was the most powerful answer I ever heard, but he didn't feel confident. And I said, the reason being is that you're head trash. I mean, you're telling yourself that you're not good, and it's time now for this guy's conversation to be in your head how good you are.
Yeah.
And it's repetition, because you have repeated how bad you were in the past, and you continue that story. So the story has to change. So repetition is probably your best friend when it comes to this.
It is. And you got to star in your own movie. You got to be the leading actor, actress in your own movie. If you're producing your own movie and it's your life, don't you want to have some say so? I don't want other people to produce my movie for me, and it's not the part I want to play. So an affirmation is, I'm the director of my movie today, and I'm the lead character. I run things in me, not you. I choose what I focus on, what I believe in, what I do today. You can influence that, but it's my choice. You see, that's where the affirmations come in. I choose to direct my movie today, and this is what the end scene is going to be at the end of my day.
I was once told to keep saying, I am.
I am. It's one of the most powerful verses in the Bible, where God told Moses, well, how am I going to go save, several million Jews out of captivity of 430 years? And he says, just tell them I am sent you. And you're like, he goes, who are you? I mean, I know you're God, but I can't go tell them I am. You need something up. He doesn't. Because in that passage, God is so secure in himself. He goes, I don't need you, Moses. I don't need anybody. I am, period. So you're right. That is a very powerful thing, that I am what? In control. I am happy. I am confident. I am a winner. I am a success. You finish the blanks of I am instead of who should or I could or I'm not. It's I am blank. Fill in the blanks.
That's powerful. I think everyone should write that down. I am. One of the other tools is at the end of the day, I think you should review your day. What amazing things did you accomplish? Who did you add value to? Who added value to you? Who could you thank? I think those are some important things. Are there any tools I'm missing for the end of the day?
You know, what I try to do is, and we live in a different world post-pandemic, you know, many of us were doing a lot more commuting, or I was at least, on airplanes and cars and trains and so forth. So our world has kind of changed. I mean, we didn't do these kind of podcasts before, you know, this whole incident happened almost 3 years ago now, as much as we do now. The whole world has been turned on to, we can communicate just as effectively through the internet, that we don't have to physically be there. I still think there's benefits in being there, but when we can't, we can't. So one of the things I do is I prepare for my day, as we talked about earlier. I get up in the morning, I go through my little shot list of what I say to myself and what I see in myself. And then I go to my list and my mission, tactical awareness, and I start checking off my day. And I start nailing whatever it is I need to do. At the end of the day, I commonly tell people, you should prepare to go home. In my case, I need to prepare to go down the steps into the common area of the house where my family lives after I'm done with my day. So we're very good about preparing for our day. And in most cases in corporate America, 20 years of doing this, I find that we are really horrible at preparing to go home. We just show up. And if you haven't figured out or not, your spouse and kids, they really don't care that much about your day. They want to know about you. So we come in, kicking the can, you know, flopping around, complaining about this and that and this person, and your spouses are like, oh my God, really again? Can you like get that done before you walk in the door? So it's recovery. Prepare to go to work, prepare to go home, let it go, and become the person you need to be in loving relationships, and let the other stuff go during the day. So we have a great time preparing, a horrible time preparing to go home. We just need to do the same tactics. So debrief your day. Use it in the car. Yeah, debrief your day. Use it in the car, listening to music. Sometimes, you know, I'm sitting in my office in my home a lot of days like this, and before I just shut everything down and go downstairs and get ready to have dinner or do whatever we're going to do, I'll just pause. Sometimes I'll just listen to music for 5-10 minutes and just kind of blow off what's happening inside of me, jot notes down, maybe I need to do for the next day, and really just feel like I'm emptying myself of the day. And then I can go downstairs and I can be the husband and the father that I need to be and that they deserve me to be. But I got to be in control of that. So I am in control of my transition to go home today at the end of the day. I am in control of that, not anybody else.
I also like the fact that two things. One is that you use music because that really changes people's mood.
Yes.
And the other one is that you are just winding down after the wound up of the day. You're absolutely right. And I think it changes your whole mood. And it reminds me of the sticker about in the moment, that you're going to go downstairs and you need to be in the moment. And that just reminded you of all that.
Yeah, and you got to transition from one moment to the next. If not, one moment just runs into another and it becomes, blurry. And in movies, you know this, when you watch a movie, there's deliberate breaks in scenes. And they set up a scene, they do that scene, they close the scene, you go to the next scene. Sometimes that's commercial breaks, sometimes that's just transitions in a movie, whether it's a 90-minute or 2-hour movie. It's very fascinating. I've been on quite a bit of movie sets, and you watch directors intentionally do this. They prepare the scene, they do the scene, and they transition to debrief and go to the next scene. So they leave you a little cliffhanger kind of thing. So we have to produce our movie of ourselves today. And I think it's such a simple thing that everybody can understand, because we've all seen movies in our lives. Be intentional. Be intentional about running your life. Don't let the weather run your life. Don't let your family run your life. Don't let the community or politics or religion, don't let anything run your life. Negotiate your own way every single day. It's a word I made up. It's in my new book coming up. And it's navigate and negotiate simultaneously. Sometimes I'm navigating people. Sometimes I'm navigating things. Other times I'm negotiating with people, and I'm negotiating with things like the weather or traffic. So negotiation is the process of navigating and negotiating my life purpose today, lived out in flesh and blood in front of the people who are watching my character live out right before their eyes in my movie. I produce, I direct, and I star in.
So I like all the tools we talked about today because they're very powerful. We start with gratitude. Maybe we should start every day with that.
Yes.
We talked about reflection of what happened yesterday, how to feel better and things like that, how to make today a better day. I like the triggers and the momentum and the stickies and everything else you talked about. We dug deep into affirmations, and I think that is incredibly powerful. And I'm looking at this as a daily thing, from grateful to daily to affirmations, reviewing the day, ending the day. And one last one I'd like to add here is, I don't know if you agree with me or this, but I look at the day and I go, what can I do to make tomorrow better?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and I think that brings us to making sure we have good reflection of today. Because if I'm not measuring today, how do I know it's going to be better tomorrow if I have nothing to measure it against? So I use a basic checkoff list. And a lot of times at the end of the day, it could be sometimes before I go to bed, maybe it's during the day, I make notes of things I need to get done today or this week, as an example. And I put a priority system on them, A, B, or C. And it's really simple. If it's an A, it's urgent. B is important. C is like, yeah, I should get to it. But I keep track of that. So I can do a quick reflection at the end of the day and say, did I check off everything? Some things you can't check off because maybe they didn't get back to me. Maybe the contract didn't return from the attorneys. It always takes twice as long as you think. So there's some things you're not in control of. Like I said, we are influenced by those things, but it's up to me to say, okay, that becomes top of my list tomorrow. So one day flows into another, but I think it's really important to have closure of the day and have something to start the new day. Fighter pilots, I've trained thousands of fighter pilots over the years for the Air Force and the Navy, and they're fascinating individuals. I have one that I do coaching with right here in South Florida, F-16 pilot, just cool guy, just interesting family. And they go through what's called a win cycle, W-I-N, win cycle. And it's basically, you start with a plan, usually comes from the Pentagon, goes to your Air Force base. And then when it gets there, your commander will brief you as pilots on the plan. So you have a plan, you brief the plan. Thirdly, you go out and you execute the plan. Fourthly, when you come back, you debrief what happened on the plan. And the fifth and final and probably most important thing you do is you celebrate, you win. So many times we forget to celebrate what we're doing and what's happening. We go through the plan, we brief ourselves a lot of times, like we're talking about, we can execute our day. I'm going to debrief my day, but we forget to celebrate what really happened. And it doesn't mean that we won everything. It means I came back alive. It means I survived to fight another day. It could be whatever it is, but celebrate moments in something. I feel like we have so little time of celebration in our life. I have walls full of photos of being in victory lanes and racetracks and, around the world. And, I can glance and they're a reminder of victory lane is hard to get to. But man, when you get there, you got 20 minutes and it's awesome. You better pour all the beer and the champagne you can, because as soon as you leave, it's back to work. No one cares. You got to go do it again every single day. So remember to celebrate something every single day.
That's great. What I like to do in our next couple of podcasts is talk about maybe develop a blueprint for owners, managers, and CEOs so that we can talk about different things. As I meet with a lot of CEOs, the issues are almost the same. It's time management, it's delegation, it's accountability, it's about trust. And the big one is communications. I don't know any company that gets an A in communications,
Right.
because we're dealing with humans. And I noticed that most people deal with the product and never talk about the people that are executing the product or involved in the product. And I said, have you thought about that person that you're dealing with as a human being, and you want to get the job done, but there's a person behind that job to get it done.
Yes.
So Terry, what do you think about in the next couple of podcasts in our presentation, we start building a blueprint for people to follow? And also we could talk about what you're doing in your book that's coming out here, and pieces of that in the next couple of podcasts we put together. So that's my tease for the next one for Intentional Influence Today. And if you want to get in touch with Terry, how do you do that?
TerryLyles.com, TerryLyles.com. Coaching, consulting, challenging for your company, whatever it is you might need or want to become. I'm a human engineer. So if you don't have people and you only have machines in your business, I'm probably not your guy. But if you have people, I can help you.
That's great. That's great. And I'm with Vistage Florida. It's CTART at vistageflorida.com. And Vistage is a roundtable of CEOs that meet once a month all day with speakers, and also talking about confidential issues. In fact, you spoke at one of our
I have another
CEOs
one scheduled in a couple of weeks.
And you're scheduled again for another group. Yeah.
A great organization, and I think the biggest thing about Vistage that I see is the accountability of being able to hold one another accountable for what it is you said you were going to do last time to this time. And a lot of people are afraid of accountability, and I think you guys at Vistage do a great job on, calling people in, inviting them to come in, but yet saying, if you come here, you have to be accountable, because this is how success works. You have to be accountable.
Exactly. Thank you, Terry. It was a very informative conversation today. I appreciate it. And then next time, let's talk about the book that's coming out and how that'll affect our lives, and get this blueprint together.
Look forward to it, Chet. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thanks for another edition. Thanks for joining us. And if you like it, please hit like. And if you want to share it, please share with other people. This has been Influence Today with Terry Lyles and Chet Tart.